Hi, I'm Will from Antelope Collision, here to help you learn English fast. Do you have any English-speaking friends? What questions do you ask them? Do you like? Where do you live? What's your favorite color? It can be a bit boring, so today I'm going to show you how to ask funny and interesting questions to your friends using the second conditional. First of all, open your wallet. How much money do you have? I have like 500 yen, not a lot. Well, what would you do if you had 1 billion yen? Do you have 1 billion yen? No. Tomorrow, will you have 1 billion yen? No. Next year, will you have 1 billion yen? Probably not. We have to use our imagination for this question. We have to imagine the answer. So our question, what would you do if you had 1 billion yen? Let's think about some possible answers. If I had 1 billion yen, I would eat lobster every day and I would drink champagne for breakfast, but I wouldn't go to work. How about you? What would you do if you had 1 billion yen? So let's take a closer look at this question, and I've split it into two parts. First, where are the verbs in this question? What would you do? Where's the verb? Do. And in the second part, if you had 1 billion yen, where's the verb? Had. We also have a modal verb in the first part. Would. Our first part of the question. Would plus the base form of the verb. The second part of the question, our verb had. We always have if in the second part. What tense is had? Past, present, or future? It's the past simple. So would plus base form, if plus past simple. This is the second conditional. This is how you ask your funny and interesting questions. So let's change this question a little bit. What would you do if you had, blank, blank. What would you do if you had, oh, I don't know. Another funny and interesting question. What would you do if you had a lion? I would take it shopping. I wouldn't tell my mum. She'd be very angry. Okay, so let's think of some more questions. What do your friends like? Do they like traveling? Do they like sport? Do they like movies? My friends like movies and they love comic book movies like Marvel. So let's make a question about movies, a funny and interesting question. So first of all, we need a question word here. I'm going to say question word who. So who would you? We need a base form verb here. Who would you be? Maybe. Who would you be? And now part two. If you past simple. If you, so we need a verb in the past simple here. If you were, who would you be if you were a superhero? Who would you be if you were a superhero? Let's think of one more interesting question, maybe about traveling this time. So our question word, who, what, where, when, why, how. I'm going to go with where. Where would you, base form, where would you, say, go? Where would you go if you, past simple, you think of a past simple verb that could go in here? I'm going to say, where would you go if you had a private jet? Where would you go if you had a private jet? There are so many different questions that you can ask with this formula. Would plus base form, if plus past simple. For sport, if you were a famous footballer, what club would you play for? Movies, maybe. If you were an actor, who would you be? There's loads of questions that you can ask. So I have a question that I want you to answer at home. If you were an animal, what animal would you be and why? Please leave a comment down below and we'll correct your English. And we actually have a podcast about what would you do. You can listen to it here. And if you like this lesson, please subscribe for some more. But now, if you'll excuse me, I'm going to try and see if I can spend this money. See you later.